All righty, this here is how you remove collections and remove them hopefully fast. A lot of people have gotten results on this, so if you want to get results on this, go ahead, listen to this video, take some notes, get some coffee, get your drink of preference or whatever you want to do. But we're about to jump into this, how you can remove collections in as little as 30 days without sending off anything in mail. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully my power does not go out because we got a little bit of a storm going on here. But if not, I'll try to get right back in. So I'm going to share here the screen. And give me a second. Can somebody see my screen?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, good deal. I'm in good. All right, how to remove collection. So we're gonna jump right in here. Hopefully my little clicker will work here. All right, good deal. So first, what's a collection? Let's take a peek here. Oh, let me move my. I'm gonna have to figure out how in the world I'm gonna work with this one screen, y'all. Oh, bear with me just a second. If y'all chat, you may have to just come off mute because I may not be able to see the chat, okay? But you can still see me in the small screen.
Yep.
All right, good deal. So a collection is basically it's a debt that's been turned over to a third party. Okay. In some cases, it could have been a charge off. In some cases, it could have been just a collection that's been given to a third party. What that simply means, a collection agency or a collection company has basically bought the debt or they're collecting that debt when it's from their original collector. A lot of times what happens is it's been several months. A lot of times after 180 days, they'll sell them. Okay. So when a debt goes unpaid for several months at a time, a creditor will often sell or, like I said, transfer it to a collection agency. And believe it or not, y'all, it's for pennies on a dollar. This is why I always tell y'all, do not pay that collection. Okay. There's other routes to that before you pay it off. Okay. I'm not saying not to pay it per se, but before you pay it off, one of the hardest things to get off is a paid collection off of your credit report. So I'd rather you have it unpaid so we can work on getting it off. Okay. And then if you wanted to pay it, that's a different story. But of course, after several attempts to remove the older debt, the collection can severely, definitely impact. Collections is not the worst thing on your credit report, but it can be on your credit report up to 7 years. Okay. So what we're going to do is jump right in and we're going to show you how to get these collections off of your credit report and hopeful. Again, I always like to say this on my videos as a disclaimer. I'm not guaranteeing any of this information. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney or anything like that. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm simply showing you some ways to hopefully improve and impact your credit. So let's get it. All right. Uh-oh. Told y'all, hopefully I can, there we go. Let's flip through the screen. All right, so the first thing is determining what's a collection versus what's a charge off. A lot of times you'll see charge off / collection on your credit report. So one of the first things I want you to always do on your credit report is look at the account status, okay? Because we need to determine if it's a actual charge off or is it an actual collection. Tonight we're talking about just collections. So in the account status on your credit report, okay, each account has a status section. Okay. So what you want to do is on that status, it should say collection on there or whatever that particular status is. That's the only thing that we're going to be looking at tonight is actually how you do collections. The way you treat charge-offs are totally different. So go look at some of my charge-offs videos. But under the account status, it should say, like I said, it'll say charge-off, it'll say late pay, it'll say collection. This is what we wanted to say in collections. But you can also, there's a couple other ways to know if it's a charge or collection as well. All right. Sometimes you'll just, when you look on your credit report, it'll have your collections separate from your, for example, your charge off. So it'll list collection accounts. Okay. So some reports will actually label it that way. I always recommend that you look at your annual credit report to look at it that way. So that way you know what you're looking at. Okay. But one of the other things I want you to do is always look in the remarks. Okay. Always look in the remarks section because if it is a collection, it should say there's usually remarks section like it says here. A collection account will often say something like a place of collections or sent to collections. A charge-off account may say account charge-off or profit or loss. That way, if you see that, that way you know it's a charge-off account. And normally when it's a charge-off, it's with the original collector, or they've even sold it to a collection agency, which then can become a collection opposed to what it previously was, a charge-off. Okay. Always get in the habit of looking at your first delinquency date, no matter if it's a charge-off or a collection, because what that allows you to do is go all the way back. And when you do that, that tells you how long it's going to be on your credit report. And a lot of times those dates are incorrect. Okay. And that's how we remove inaccuracies, because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll update that or have it inaccurate on your actual credit report. Okay. So let's go right ahead. Okay. Excuse me. So in each state, I want you to understand this. As far as collection agencies go, believe it or not, collection agencies have to be licensed, y'all. Okay. And what I'm going to be sharing with you here is actually in the state, because if they're not licensed in the state that you live in, and your state has to be licensed. Oh, we got a comment here. Let's see here. Okay, gotcha. You can hear me. All right, so what happens is, there we go. What happens is, if for example the company was in Missouri, okay, that's the license, they're gonna have license there. So in that particular state, that one has to be licensed, which I'm gonna show you here. Why am I saying that? Because if a company, if you live in a state where they have to be licensed, and they're not licensed, that right there is a rule for it to be off of your report. And I'm going to show you some of the licensing, the laws that we're going to be utilizing here tonight. So if you want to take a screenshot here, you can definitely can. These are the states that do not have what you call a debt. You do not have to require a debt collection. For example, if I'm here in the state of Alabama, it does not require a license. So if the company is out of Alabama, they don't need to have license. So that is key, because a lot of these companies and debt collectors are actually acting without any license, y'all. So go ahead, take a snapshot of this right here, depending upon, it doesn't matter where you live, it's dependent upon where that company is. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so Alabama's no license is required. So what that simply means is in Alabama they don't have to have a license to collect in the state of Alabama. So let's keep going. Okay, additional states that do not require a license is Arkansas, Hawaii, Iowa, and Mississippi. Okay, and keep this in mind as well. In the state of New York, it has specific licensing requirements for debt collectors that do not apply to statewide. So some of the laws may be a little bit different there. Some states may have registration, binding, or other requirements, even if they do not require a formal quote unquote debt collection license. So there is some practices that they have to abide by. So another way to doing this, you can go to a website called NMLS Consumer Access. I won't go there tonight, but I will show you a screenshot. And all you want to do is type in the actual name of the company. For example, you want to type in Portfolio Recovery, you hit a search, it's going to tell you all of the states that they're licensing in. Okay, so if you live in a state that you have to be licensed in and they're not licensed, that's one way that they cannot collect from you. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that tidbit of information, and I'm going to give you the necessary laws and what to say in those letters as well. Okay. All right, and go ahead and this is one of the things that will populate here. For example, this is portfolio recovery. So I look up right here like, dang, they in Alabama. They already got Alabama down packed. So that's some of the listings here, and that's just what it looks like on your screen. So you can definitely research that. So let's get to the nitty gritty, y'all. Okay. The statutes of limitations. Okay, this is humongous, because a lot of times what's happening is these collection agencies, they're getting your money on, they're getting these debts for pennies on the dollar. So what that means is, let's say you had an iPhone and it was $1,000, okay, and it charged off and it's going into collections, and they purchased this from the original collector. A lot of times they're buying that for pennies on the dollar. So originally it was $1,000, And what happens is they could have bought it for, I'm just using this as an example, $50, okay? But they're still trying to collect 1,000 from you years upon years later. For example, if you was in the state of New York, New York has now a law where once you reach 3 years of your statute of limitations is up, depending on what type of lien it was. Okay, so you always want to know what your statutes of limitations is. How do you know that? You can always Google whatever the statutes of limitations is. Okay, for collecting the debt in the United States, it just refers to the maximum period which a creditor or a debt collector can file a lawsuit to collect a debt. After this time, the debt is considered time barred, though it can be collected outside of court. Just keep that in mind. Okay, that's another reason why you don't want. What happens when I talk about inaccuracies on credit reports, a lot of times what's happening is your statute of limitations that starts from that first date of activity, last activity, so delinquency. Okay, so what that simply means, if you were delinquent, for example, in 2020 and you lived in Alabama, that was going to be up in 6 years. What happens is it's now 2024. However, what happens if they have an inaccuracy, for example, on your credit report, and what'll happen is they keep updating that last date of delinquency. So it's no longer 2020, it's now 2024. And what'll happen is these credit bureaus and these collections agencies, they illegally will update that and have inaccurate date on there. So all of a sudden it updates as your last date of your first day of delinquency could be June of 2024 when it really was June of 2020. So now you got all of this time from this. This is why you want to be very careful and understand how to look at your credit report. Okay. So here you always want to Google whatever state you are, just Google the state you are in, and it'll tell you the statutes and limitations that you're in. I just want to give that to you guys for just a little bit of tidbit information. Okay. And also understand this, as you can see, for oral contracts may be different than written contracts or promissory notes. Understand what the differences are. Okay. Oral contracts are verbal agreements to repay. Okay. Written contracts, for example, are signed agreements or contracts for repayments. Okay. Promissory notes, i.e., mortgage, i.e., car, that's what a promissory note is. Okay. Open-ended accounts, a lot of that's going to be your revolving accounts. That's going to be your credit cards. Okay. So keep in mind, once the statute of limitations pass, the debt does become barred. Keep that in the back of your head. Okay. All right, let's jump in. All right. This is what y'all been waiting for to get this stuff and how we're going to get this off of your actual credit report. Okay. We're going to use consumer laws. Okay. And understand this. The law is up to them to deter if this is going to be for them to prove the law. Okay, you can dispute anything on your credit report, but it's up to them to respond. Okay, so I'm going to give you some laws that I've been seeing really get a lot. I mean, I haven't seen it not work for anyone. Okay, in some cases, I've seen it where it gets 2 collections out of 3 collections off, 4 collections out of 5 collections off, but it is definitely getting collections off. Okay, so one of the first ones here. Okay, and based on the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, it is the 12 CFR 1006.34 forwards B5. What this is basically the collection agency has not provided a validation information. Okay, so what we're going to be going to them on is it's up to them to prove did I actually receive it, because you can even go to 15 USC 1692G. They have 5 days from the time that they actually bought that from the actual from the creditor, or they received that actual debt. They got 5 days to get it to you. How do they know it got mailed to you? How do they know it got sent to the right home? Did they send it to you properly? Did they tell you your first day of delinquency? Did they give you your interest that was owed on there? Did they give you the full balance? Did they give you how much you've paid? Did they give you all of this information? And I won't go through all of the details of that. I'm just going to go through the particular laws, but it's so many different things that they actually have to within that validation. So just going to read here. This is part of which implements the FDCPA. It provides rules for how debt collections must communicate with the consumers, you, specifically in 12 CFR 1006.34 B5 refers to the validation notice that a debt collection is required to provide to the consumer. A lot of times, what happens is we're not getting any validation to the consumer. All we get is a collection call, say this is a collection company to collect on a debt, or we get a letter saying this is a collection. They haven't given us full validation. Why haven't they done this? And why don't they always send things in the mail? Because it costs money to send things in the mail. And remember, they have paid pennies on the dollars for this stuff. So they're not going to overnight anything to you. They're not going to make sure it gets to you certified mail. They're going to, a lot of times, they're just going to email you. They'll text you, okay? So the validation notice must contain key information about the debt to ensure the consumer is fully informed about the debt they owe and their rights to dispute and request the validation. So this is one of the laws that we're going to be utilizing here, is because the agency has not provided validation of information to us. Okay, so let's keep going. Under consumer law, under the the fair debt. I can't talk tonight. I'm not going to read all of that. The 12 CFR 1006. I'm just throw it all off with my computer being out, guys. So here we go. This section is part of a validation notice, and we're going to see where we're going to use all of these together. Validation notice that requires under the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. I can't talk. Implemented by Regulation F. Here we go. It relates to itemized date in the validation notice provided to consumers by debt collectors. The itemized debt refers to the date on which the debt collector provides, again, the date on which the debt collector provides the amount owed, including interest or fees, to ensure that the consumer understands the breakdown of the debt. How many times you got a collection and the only thing you see is the amount? They don't tell you about nothing else because they're missing out on the law. And I'm going to tell you something. When one of the things later on in this call, it's going to be another little loophole that's going to say, oh my goodness, I didn't know that they could do that. I'm not going to tell you the loophole yet. I'm going to make you wait, okay? But you're going to be surprised, because a lot of times what happens is in the agreement, I guess I'm giving you the loophole, in the agreement that they get from the original collector, a lot of times what happens, well, not a lot of times, what says in that agreement, so the collection agents get an agreement from the original creditor that simply says, this information may be inaccurate, okay? So they're knowingly getting information that may be inaccurate, and a lot of times they don't have all the necessary information to actually provide to you. That's why we're using these particular laws, and I started using these a few months back, and they're really working for people. Let's keep going. Okay, to the next one, 12 CFR 1006.34D is part of the Regulation F, which implements the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, again, specifically addressing the content and form of the validation that the debt collectors must provide to consumers. The purpose of this notice is to inform consumers about the debt, their rights regarding the debt, and again, the debt collector's identity, okay? So they must validate, again, must provide to the consumers. Again, who is it up to though, y'all? Who is it up to? The burden of proof is on them to prove what? That you received this information, okay? They have 5 days to get this information to y'all from the time that they actually bought this debt, okay? Is that happening? 9 times out of 10, I'm willing to bet no, okay? Last one, okay? 15 USC 1681 S2 A7A is part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which governs the accuracy, fairness, and the privacy of information in the files of the Consumer Reporting Agency. This specific section focuses on the obligation of furnishing of information, i.e. the creditors, the lenders, and others who provide data to the credit reporting agencies to notify customers when they report negative information to the credit bureaus? Did they let you know this information? A lot of times, again, this is going to go back to the answer of no. So we're going to put all of this together. We're going to do this. We're not going to be sending off any letters in this part, okay? This is going to be done through the CFPB. A lot of times I tell you to send letters, but this particular one, we're going to swap all of these laws together and we're going to write a letter. You can use my templates, yes, but actually in reality, you can write your own letter. I'm going to show you how to do this in ChatGPT, okay? From the essence of time, I've already put the information in. I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm asking them, okay? So here we go. This is what you would type into an AI system such as ChatGPT if you want to use that. It's Google has one. I forget the name of the one that Google has, but you want to ask ChatGPT to type you a dispute letter to the CFPB, okay, because of the following to the actual credit CB on, I'm sorry, create a dispute letter to file to the CFPB on the creditor because of the following. That should be to the collection agency, I'm sorry, letting the collection agency know that I am disputing owing any and all debts to them, okay? That's what you're doing, you're disputing it. And also revoking all rights of them communicating with you through email, text, and calls. Why am I putting that little line in there? Because the minute you revoke your rights and you tell them, look here, do not call me, do not email, do not text me if you have a collection on your report and you're getting this information to the collection agency. The minute they call you, text you, email, that's now $1,000 violation that they violated. You can actually sue them, okay? Because we're going through the CFPB. The CFPB is like saying they're like looking over. They're like governing this whole entire situation. Because we're gonna, instead of sending this letter directly to the actual collection agency, yes, that is who it's going to be going through, but it's going to be done through a complaint through the CFPB and actuality. So they're going to let them know, okay, take this off your credit report. Hey, okay, they're going to contact TransUnion. They're going to contact Experian and Equifax, okay? So the only thing we're going to be doing here, you don't mail anything. This is all going to be done through the CFPB, all electronically. So let's keep going, okay? I am also requesting debt validation. So I'm also asking them for a validation here. Requesting the purchase agreement between them and the original creditor. You think they're going to give you the purchase agreement in this case? Heck no, they're not going to give you that. Why? Because the minute they see that, that's another thing that you can actually go back and sue for them if they actually release that to you, because one of the key phrases in that purchase agreement, it's going to say this debt, this may be inaccurate information. Duh, if it's inaccurate, why in the world are you using it? Okay, so they're not going to utilize that. So this is another easier way to get this off of your credit report. Requesting that they furnish proof that they are also licensed and bonded. If you live in a state where they don't need to be licensed or they're already licensed, you can take off that last line. Okay. Again, advise them of the violations of the following consumer laws to remove collections. Collection agent has not provided me a validation of information under the 12 CFR 1006.34, but yet they placed a collection on my consumer report. You may not, this is what you're putting in ChatGPT. You may not have, you have not been given a chance to dispute the account according to 12 CFR 1006.34C4I. Collection agency is also violating your consumer rights by using false, misleading, misrepresentation, deceptive means, and also the collection agency has no authority to furnish any account to a consumer reporting agencies without providing any and all disclosures required by law, according to the 1012 CFR 1006 and also 15 USC 1681 S7, S27. All right, so take a picture of that if you want to. And going on to the next one, and let me show you what this is going to look like, okay? This is a dispute letter here. Now, you're not going to mail this anywhere. I'm going to make a zoom here, zoom in on it. And what this is like I said, you're not mailing this particularly, but you're going to be doing this in the CFPB. So what I'm doing is I'm writing a dispute to the validity of the debt you claim I owe to, and again, you can do this through any chat GPT. You can use this particular letter if you want to. Okay. You claim that I owe to address several violations of the consumer protection laws in your protection practices. I am also filing a complaint with the CFPB regarding these issues. Okay, and we have the issues here. I am disputing any and all debts to the collections agency. I request a validation of the debt required under that particular law. Please provide the detailed information regarding the alleged debt. Again, you're simply disputing it. It's on them to provide the details. If they cannot provide the details, then it's to be deleted, including the original correct. You want the original creditor's name, the account name, the account amount owed, and a breakdown of any fees or interest charges. You're not asking for anything that the law has not already said that they should have been providing. Additionally, I request the purchase agreement between the collection agency and the original creditor as well. Got them, because I guarantee they're not going to provide that. I'm revoking all my rights. I told you that before. 3, has not provided me, the collection agency has not provided me with an opportunity to dispute this account. Okay. I demand that you provide me with a reasonable opportunity to dispute this debt and provide evidence of validity. Okay. Last, your collection practices have been deceptive, misleading, and violation of the consumer rights. Again, what is this? This is more of a repeat of what I originally stated that I wanted to say. I just wanted to show you here where it actually says it on the actual letter. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Don't have to read all of that. You guys can definitely, hold on here. There we go. And that's just the last part of the letter here, that you're requesting that you address these issues promptly and provide me with the requested information within 30 days. Failure to comply may result in further legal action or reporting violations. Okay, so we got that. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to make this complaint if you have not made that CFPB complaint. I'm having trouble here with my computer here. The first thing is what you want to do is always go to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Okay. Oops, I spelled bureau wrong, but you want to go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All right. And you want to either create an account. If you have not already created an account, you want to step 1, you want to create the account first. Okay. Once you've created that account, in the top right-hand side, you're going to see where it says submit complaint. Again, I want you to follow these particular steps because the way we file this complaint, the way you file the actual complaint could actually negate if you're getting it deleted or not, if you put the wrong prompts in, okay? So you want to submit that complaint. I apologize, y'all, for my computer here. The next thing is what you want to do is it's going to ask you, what is your complaint about? Okay, because remember, y'all, I've given you all of the 4 laws already. We're going to put all of this together, okay, here. Okay, what is this complaint about? It's about a debt collection. So you want to hit debt collection. Again, this is not for charge off. This is a debt collection. Okay. The next thing here, it's going to ask you what is what type of account is it? Okay. If it was for example, if this was a medical debt, you would choose medical debt. If it was a mortgage debt, you would choose mortgage debt. If it was private student loan, however it fits your particular needs here, I just put credit card just as a example here, but you want to put wherever it fits your particular need here. The next one here, if you can see it, what type of problem are you having? Okay, we are having a written notification about a debt. Didn't receive, didn't know you could dispute the debt. We didn't receive it. Remember, that's what all of these laws are. they didn't properly give me that information. You did not receive it. It is the burden of proof is now on them. Okay, so this is the law that we're using here, that they did not compile all of that information and you didn't have that part. So that's the written notification that you're giving them here. The next one here, I apologize, I'm having so much problems transferring screens here. The next one here, what best describes your problem? You didn't receive notice of what best describes your problem? Didn't receive notice of rights to dispute. Okay, so right here, oops, first one was written notice of debt. The next one was which describes didn't receive notice of right to dispute. Okay, take a screenshot there. The next one, have you already tried to fix this problem? In this answer, with this company, no, you have not. It's your first time. So take a screenshot if you want. Now here, what happened? This is where you're going to take all of your information that you put in through ChatGPT. You're going to put that information right in right here. So what you're going to do is just take that letter, put it right inside of here, and that's going to be what happened, okay? Because you've already got your letter, you put it right into what happened here, and you're finished. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything else. Just simply take that letter that you got from ChatGPT, or if you use one of the templates, take that template, put it inside of here, but make sure you're going to do this separately for each individual company that you're using. So if you have 5 collections on your credit report, you want to do this 5 different times, and you want to make sure you put in that collection agency different on each letter. Where I have collection agency, you want to put, for example, portfolio recovery, and then you might want to put Midland in there. Whoever it is that's the collection agency on that, okay? So make sure you put that. And then what is a fair resolution? Don't forget to put this part, okay? I want to delete this from my credit report because of all of the violations, okay? Again, I want to delete this from my credit report because of all of the violations. You want to make sure you put that, because sometimes people forget to put this part and they wonder why in the world they didn't get anything deleted, okay? So don't forget to put that there. The next thing, you want to make sure, even though it's going through the CFPB, I like for you to always put a valid ID, and also a place of residence, meaning utility bill, voter's registration card, something of that magnitude, so they don't have anything to say, well, that is not you. Okay, it's going to ask you to upload some files here. That's all you have to upload here. Because you've already put your letter into what happened, so you don't have to upload the letter. And last, what you want to do here is where it says, what company is this complaint about? You want to put this, again, y'all, I love this laws here. I learned this here, and I'm like, people been using this and really getting results, okay? Right here, you want to put in whatever collection agency it is here. It's going to give you a little typing in here. It's going to search for it. Okay, so trust me, it's in there. I promise you, it's in there. Portfolio recovery is who I used here. Then you want to click those numbers down below and use account number and then social security number, and put the account number exactly as it appears on your actual credit report. And then put the last 4 digits of your social security number. And again, remember, you're going to repeat this process several times over. Okay, just remember that. Because again, if you have 5 collections, you're going to do this several times. All right. And then is this company I'm messing all up here. Is the company where this debt came from different than the company entered above? No, it's not. Because it's the same. Who are you submitting this claim for? It's going to be you. In your case, you're doing this, okay? So that's that part. And again, don't forget to repeat this information. Repeat this step. If you've done it for 5 collections, you're going to do it 5 different times. So you should have 5 different submissions, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Now that I've bumbled through my computer enough here. Let's see here. All right, so let's go ahead and open up for questions here.